What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over everything you need to know about Fortnite's Act 2 update. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, comment down below what you think of this update, and if you guys would like to use my code in the shop when getting anything, it is EvolveJake, just like my channel name is, and is underneath the webcam at all times. So for Act 2, we have a whole new page of the showdown kind of faction competition. And similar to Act 1, there will be several rewards unlocked as each faction kind of progresses through the act. So Ice King side will unlock the hammer revolver, the IO recon scanner, the reforged infinity blade, and then finally the slipstreams and the ice biome, which will allow you to glide around and travel faster. The hammer revolver is obviously going to be a low fire rate, hard-hitting pistol that will reward accuracy and will probably have a high headshot multiplier. The IO recon scanner allows you to shoot out things that scan the area essentially and mark enemy players. And this will be really helpful for carrying, probably in team game modes, to have somebody in your team having it. But especially in in-game situations, chaotic areas where you're fighting around a building, or like situations where you're hunting for your bounties or rivals, this recon scanner will make things way easier. The reforged infinity blade, I think, kind of sounds misleading. I think a lot of people are expecting it to just be the infinity blade, as it was in Chapter 1, but this is a new item, the reforged infinity blade, and I expect this to be a step back from how it was in Chapter 1. Maybe it'll be better, maybe it'll be the same, I don't know, but that's kind of my expectations. And then the foundation side will unlock the super shredder shotgun, which we'll get to in a moment, the builder's barracks expansion, the cube rifle, which seems like it's going to be a DMR like esque style weapon, and improvement for the vortex beacon at New Sanctuary. The vortex beacon is what allows you to glide out of there, like we had at the classified canyon last season. So it's there this season, but when you turn it on, I don't think it sends you as far, and it doesn't stay on for the remainder of the game. This improvement for the vortex beacon will make it stay on for the remainder of the game and probably send you higher, allowing you to go further. You can actually get this new super shredder shotgun a bit early, so it's the first reward, so it'll be unlocked probably within a day or two anyways. But to get this shotgun early, you need to talk to the Jess NPC outside Builder's Barracks, which is a new POI, and then do her quests, which will be in the Save the World quest section. And these quests are actually really easy. You need to mark 3 different rarity items, so a green item, blue item, purple item would get that done, just 3 different rarities, and then visit 5 named POIs, 5 different named POIs. And then once you talk to her after doing that, you will be able to purchase it for 500 gold. The progression on these quests doesn't start until you talk to her the first time though, so make sure you go in and do that. But once you do these quests, you'll be able to purchase the blue version for 500 gold, and you can't actually upgrade this at the rivalry stations. I did try to do that. The blue version has a 108 max body damage and a 175 max headshot damage from my experience, so solid damage. And this is a really high range shotgun, especially when you aim in. When you're hip firing it, the accuracy isn't the greatest, the spread is pretty large, but when you aim in, the spread gets really tight, allowing you to hit a majority of your pellets even at long range, and you can hit some pretty solid, long range shots with this shotgun. Shotgun range isn't something I value that much in the current meta, because normally what would make a really good range shotgun good is because you can kind of play around cover, peek for a fraction of a second, hit a high damage chip shot while exposing yourself for very little time. But you can kind of do the same thing with the Thunderburst SMG, which is what I'm going to be carrying anyways. But I didn't mind using the shotgun at all, and I think it will be solid when it's added to the loot pool. But if you want to get it early, that is how you do it. We did get some map changes in this update as well, which I've kind of already touched on. Builder's Barracks is a new POI outside New Sanctuary, and this is made up of build pieces. In Zero Build, you're not able to edit it, but it wouldn't surprise me in build mode if you could edit these tiles, because in Chapter 1, we had areas that were kind of like this as well, and you were able to edit them. But it's just a POI made out of Fortnite builds. It seemed like an okay-ish POI from my experience landing there. It was really chaotic because it's a new spot, and that tends to happen with new POIs. And if you remember when we talked about the showdown progression, one of the foundation rewards was improvements to this POI. So once we reach that tier, I assume this POI will get larger or expanded in some way. And that will definitely be interesting to see. The next map change is really bizarre. Tip Top Terrace has been replaced by a lumber mill. And if you look at the size of this lumber mill, it is incredibly small compared to what was Tip Top Terrace. So This is definitely a downgrade to that section of the map, and if Tip Top Terrace was your favorite POI, it's pretty unfortunate that it is now gone. But I assume this is going to be something that also kind of expands over time and kind of builds upon itself, because replacing the entire POI just for this one building seems very random and doesn't make very much sense. Typically, when they replace one POI with another, there's usually like a similar size to the area or similar amount of loot, but this is much smaller and doesn't have nearly as much loot. So I don't know why they did this, unless it's kind of set up for future map changes. Maybe this area will kind of expand more and more, and then the forest will get destroyed more and more stuff will be built over in that area. That's kind of my expectation. But if they just leave it like this as one just random lumber mill building, that is very surprising, and it doesn't make much sense to me at all. So I expect more changes to be coming to this area over the course of the season. We also did get new exotic weapons in this update. So the exotic weapons that you can purchase at the rivalry stations using the coins, these all cost 80 coins, but you'll be able to purchase the exotic wrecker revolver, the exotic OXR rifle, and the boom sniper. So these are all added to the rivalry sections, and then the previous exotics have been removed. So you can no longer get the exotic hyperburst pistol, the core DMR, or the exotic red eye. They basically swapped the exotics we had previously for this new set of exotics. And I know a lot of people are going to be interested for the wrecker revolver to come back and the idea of double pumping with it. You still can do that. You can swap between this and another shotgun just fine with no delay. But if you guys remember, the exotic wrecker revolver has a lower base damage, a higher headshot multiplier, and a higher fire rate when hip firing. So you can double pump with it, but the main kind of benefit of double pumping was swapping between two really high damage weapons, where this exotic version is more of just like a high fire rate spammy shotgun, especially when you're hip firing. So maybe you could go like chaos reloader and then swap to this and just stay on it for the majority of the fight. But I don't think just double pumping with this is going to be the dominant playstyle like how we saw in chapter 6 season 4, because most people were using a shotgun and then either like the mythic or legendary wrecker revolver, not as much the exotic, because the exotic doesn't do as well swapping back and forth. It wants to just be stuck on, but you can use it. It is quite good. Same with the exotic OXR rifle. I loved this in chapter 6 season 4, but with how fights play out this season, a lot of times you're going to be jumping around and you're going to be in air using either the overdrive grenades or the 7 power gloves. And in those situations, it doesn't do that great because it has a lot of bloom while in air. The guns have like a jumping penalty, and the jumping penalty for this OXR rifle was pretty significant. So while it is good, there's a lot of fights that happen this season where it's going to be a bit rough to use. And that's kind of how I felt about these exotics. They're good, but they didn't really fit how I wanted to play as much this season. And you maybe could use them, but then I would want to use 3 guns. Like just using shotgun and wrecker revolver and not having double mobility, or sorry, and having double mobility and heals like what I would normally want to do. It worked, but I feel like it would fare best with 3 guns and not having double mobility. And then I kind of feel the same way about the OXR rifle. Like maybe having 3 guns with it would work better, but that's not really how I want to play. And then the boom sniper is incredibly mid. I'm not sure why they added it. Most of the time it comes back, it's not very good. The chaos reloader shotgun previously had a bug where sometimes it wouldn't reload on its own when not equipped. And there's been a lot of debate about what causes this. Maybe it's swapping too quickly, you know, maybe dropping it and then picking it back up fixes it. That bug has apparently been fixed, so you don't really need to worry about that anymore. Fortnite said it was fixed, and while playing today, I didn't run into it, and before it was like a somewhat pretty frequent bug. The Dark Voyager drone anomaly had its rewards changed, so I'll have it on screen now, but the Stabilize the Rift anomaly, where you have to destroy the drones and then you get a weapon from the portal, they changed the loot pool completely on this. So you now have a chance to get the OXR rifle, the Havoc pump, the Lead Spitter 3000, the Wrecker revolver, the Reaper sniper, the sticky grenade launcher, and the Thunderbolt of Zeus. And the pulse rifle was still in here. It's not mentioned in vaults or unvaults, but I did see the pulse rifle from this today. So they didn't swap it completely. They just changed some of what you can get from this anomaly. Some car models are also bugged for some reason, and when you get in a car and try to turn it into your car model, it won't transform. This is just another bug. Fortnite is Fortnite, and there's always, you know, some sort of bugs going on. And another bug that I want to talk about is that when the update first went live, shockwave grenades were back in the loot pool for some reason, but they have been vaulted again. So shockwaves came back it was an accident. Epic took them out again. But if you were playing earlier this morning, or maybe you saw some gameplay in the video where I had shockwaves, or just heard people tell you shockwaves were back, they were back, but they weren't back because it wasn't intentional. So they were only here for a limited period of time because it was an accident. That has now been resolved, and shockwave grenades are not in the loot pool. So that is going to be it for this video and this update. We have a new showdown progression with rewards that will be released over the coming weeks. We got 2 new kind of POI map changes, and we got some new exotics in the loot pool as well. Let me know what you guys think of this update down in the comments below. And if you guys did enjoy this video, found it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.